at Willie B. A&M, 2.5-point favorite, 7:30 Eastern, ABC. Overlook South Carolina at your own risk, is what I would say from Texas A&M. Because you see that record, you see what they are in the conference, you're like, oh my gosh, 4-3, 2-3, we just beat LSU, we're about to roll. Okay. I mean, that spread is what it is for a reason. South Carolina, they are in the business of hunting heads. Make no mistake. Kennard, Dylan Stewart, they get after you. They have a top 3 sack rate in America, darn near 11%. That's not comfortable, especially if, and I'm assuming this is the case, you're rolling out there with Marcel Reed, your redshirt freshman quarterback. And again, I think he's your guy for you. We'll talk about that more in a second. College football sickos, make sure to subscribe right here to the On3 YouTube channel. No hot takes, no clickbait, no traffic for traffic's sake, just ball and only ball the way that you want it talked about. Thank you for being subscribed. The Hard Count brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. $5 in lineups when you play. Using code HARDCOUNT gets you $50 in promo funds. Y'all have crushed it using that code. Great way to support the show. Great way to let the people at Prize Picks know that you're dialed in. So we appreciate you using that code, and we appreciate you being subscribed. Back to the prediction. In this spot for A&M now, while LSU is a tougher roster test, I think that's totally true, this is going to be the most difficult spot they have had all season long. And the reason why I feel that way is you just had the emotional win. You had a huge win at home. You switched quarterbacks more than likely, and now we're in a spot where if you're A&M, you got to go on the road to one of the most difficult environments in the SEC. This is a chance, I think, for South Carolina, too. Like, they've been so close so many times. The LSU game, feel like they should have won. The game against Alabama, feel like they should have won. They have a chance now to kind of have a flag plant moment for what they are in 2024 for Shane Beamer and company. I would be very nervous if I'm an A&M fan, all right? So, like I said, I'm assuming that Marcel Reed is your guy for A&M. Name to me sounds kind of French. It might be French, so Marcel, if you're French, shout out to you. Sounds like a chef's name. And in this spot, I would let Marcel Reed cook, man. I would. Like, I understand there's the whole deal with what South Carolina is off the edge and how much they apply pressure to the quarterback. Here's the deal, man. You're not blocking Dylan Stewart. You're not. It's probably not going to happen. So what should you do? You should read the heck out of him. I want read option. I want him unblocked, and I want us to put him in a bind every other play. Maybe it's not that frequent, but you hear what I'm saying. I want him to have to account for both Marcel Reed and whether it be Le'Veon Moss, whether it be Daniels, whatever it is, like I want him to be in a bind and to have his mind running 1,000,000 miles an hour. Because after a certain point in time now, he's going to start guessing. And when you start guessing, there is a pretty good % chance that you're wrong at some point in time. When that happens, when you're wrong, big play. Whether it's Le'Veon Moss or whether it's Marcel Reed. And this is what we've talked about a lot. This is the benefit and the luxury and the reason why Marcel Reed should be your guy. We said it after the Arkansas game. We said it after the Florida game. He is your quarterback. Now we're saying it again after the LSU win. And I feel pretty confident he's going to be the guy in this game. I would also say this. With Marcel Reed, he allows Colin Klein, I think, to call the offense how he would like to call the offense. Because Colin Klein, if you remember him from his days at Kansas State, what was he? Dual threat kind of quarterback. Having played the position in a similar fashion to the way that Marcel Reed plays the position, now different players, don't get it twisted, he's able to, I believe, better coach and better equip Marcel Reed for success. And then furthermore, able to call the offense to a skill set he's familiar with. Like, hey, I know if I call this, Marcel Reed's able to scramble out, make something happen, eyes downfield. I can help him with that because why? I've done that. I've coached that up, all right? So, with that being the case, I think Marcel Reed also gives you the chance now to elevate more of your other playmakers, like Noah Thomas. In this spot, you need him. Le'Veon Moss, I mentioned him already. With what he is, I think he's the best offensive player for Texas A&M. With Marcel Reed's potential of tucking and running, those South Carolina linebackers, you got to take an extra half of Mississippi before you trigger on your run key. Because, again, if you guess, you might be right once or twice, but after a while now, you might be wrong. When you're wrong in a big way in the sense that you're having to listen to Texas A&M's band play their song after they score a touchdown. So that's A&M on the offensive side. That's how I think they're going to attack. It's what I anticipate. But if you can't protect Marcel Reed and they're able to wreak havoc, things get interesting, all right? Needless to say. Now, South Carolina, they are a 63% run the football team. Translation, hard hat, lunch pail, and buckle that chin strap up, baby. Lenora Sellers, 6'3", 242 pounds. For those of y'all that were wondering, whenever you watch him on your television at home, you're like, that's a big quarterback. Yeah, that's a 6'3", 242 kind of quarterback, just so we're on the same page. They use him in the run game. Rocket Sanders has been phenomenal for them this year. That is the game plan. Get them going. And it sounds kind of simplistic, but that's just how I feel about this game. You got to find a way to be creative, whether it be the jet sweep kind of motions for Lenora Sellers and getting that defense rocking and rolling. But at the end of the day, you got to get both these players rolling in the run game. And the reason why I feel that way is because I don't know if I trust the skill players for South Carolina to go win at the level that they need to win within the structure of this offense. Now, something to watch for here, and something we talk about a lot with A&M, they have been susceptible now to the explosive play. You saw it against Arkansas. Heck, you saw it against Bowling Green a few weeks ago. You saw it against LSU. There is always the potential for A&M now, every so often now, maybe once a game, catch them out of position, someone's rolled up when they're supposed to be back, or someone's fitting the wrong gap, big plays happen. And so what I'm trying to say here is when you talk about South Carolina, obviously, you would like to get the run game going. But even if it doesn't happen that way, Lenora Sellers is good enough, I think, to ad-lib and maximize if Texas A&M finds themselves out of position and push the ball downfield. Now, who is that when it comes to, catching the ball for South Carolina remains to be seen. But I will say A&M, they like to play a lot of man coverage. So you just got to win your matchup and maybe good things happen. But that's something to watch for, something I'm nervous about. Both these teams have great defensive lines. In Texas A&M, they're really good at stopping the run. We saw it last week against LSU. Held LSU to less than 30 yards rushing. And LSU now has a better offensive line than South Carolina. To put it simply, they have more NFL players than South Carolina up front. And so when we get down to it, man, I just think that A&M is going to have a way to be more multiple. But maybe you're saying, wait, JD, hang on. You're just totally dismissing the idea with us at South Carolina, with how good we are up front, that maybe we make Texas A&M one-dimensional. That's fair. That's totally fair. But going back to what I said, I don't know if I trust the South Carolina skill players, and I trust the A&M skill players more. Noah Thomas, Jabri Barber, I think they end up being the difference. What could also be possible is that A&M has a letdown after the LSU game. I don't see that. I think Mike Elko has them dialed. I think they're going to be locked in for this one. I think they understand the spot they're walking into. I think A&M wins this football game. I think 2.5 is way too low of a spread. I think A&M wins. I think they cover with ease. I would not be surprised if we saw A&M win this game by double digits.